take a deep breath, take the higher road. That's what they always say, as if they know the way. They won't take it from me. But don't ever doubt yourself, 'cause life ain't just a dream. You make your own, so kick and scream. The people will act with a never-ending force. You never had the chance, so what you waiting for? The day has come, my friend, 'cause this is war. It's time and this is war.
In the heart of adversity, the true spirit of community shines brightest. In the wake of Hurricane Helene, as the fierce winds quieted and the relentless rain subsided, the communities of East Tennessee and North Carolina emerged, not with spirits dampened, but with hearts open and hands ready to help. Witnessing an inspiring surge of solidarity, local residents became the heroes of their own stories, stepping up passionately where larger entities like FEMA and the government have failed abysmally. In towns across these resilient states, everyday citizens transformed into pillars of support for their neighbors. Picture this: local businesses in Knoxville turning their premises into collection centers for food and clothing donations. Over in Asheville, community halls morphed into makeshift shelters where volunteers, fueled by nothing but a desire to aid their fellow man, worked tirelessly to provide warm meals and a safe place to sleep for those displaced by the storm. Church groups, often the backbone of community support, mobilized rapidly. In small towns like Greenville and Waynesville, church facilities became bustling hubs of activity where volunteers assembled care packages. The youth, full of energy and empathy, organizing fundraisers, car washes, and bake sales, proving that the power to make a difference knows no age limit. The beauty of these efforts lay not just in their scale, but in their personal touch. There were stories of residents from the Smokies driving down to coastal towns with truckloads of homegrown produce to distribute. In return, coastal residents sent handmade quilts and crafts to the colder mountain areas to help get those people through the power outages and chilly nights that followed the hurricane. This narrative of mutual support and shared strength highlights more than just the practical assistance provided. It paints a vivid picture of a profound human connection, a shared resolve to uplift each other, no matter the circumstances. Social media platforms buzzed not with despair, but with calls for help and offers of assistance, threading these communities together in a digital tapestry of compassion and action. In these moments, East Tennessee, North Carolina, they didn't just share a geographical boundary, they shared the heartbeat of community life, beating strong against the storm. As volunteers, neighbors, and friends, they crafted a powerful reminder that when the official response falls short, the human spirit woven together through community stands tall, undaunted, unbroken, and utterly unstoppable. Let's focus on these stories, these breathtaking examples of humanity in action. They teach us that in the face of trials, what matters most isn't just how we survive, but how we support each other in that survival, coming together to rebuild, and not just buildings, but the very hearts and souls of our communities. You're listening to Nurses Out Loud on America Out Loud Talk Radio. I'm your host, Nurse Kimberly Overton. Before we get started today, I do want to encourage our listeners, if you have questions or comments, or perhaps you want to share your own experiences with what you're seeing on the front lines of healthcare, you can now submit those to any of the hosts by emailing them directly to nurses@americaoutloud.com. We would love to hear from you. We encourage all of you to engage in the battle and find your voice in this fight. But until you are able to do that, we will continue to be that voice for you. Joining me today is Jeff Melton. Jeff is one of those everyday heroes I mentioned in my opening. He is a husband, a father of 4, and a lifelong resident of Greenville, Tennessee. He is a member of the First Church of God and serves on their board as property director. He has taken the lead on hurricane relief efforts and is making quite an impact in his community. Jeff, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, glad to be with you.
Yeah, so actually I just met you yesterday. Interestingly enough, I was connected to you by a friend of mine here in Hendersonville, Tennessee. And we were looking for a home for some supplies. You know, we've been taking up donations for the hurricane relief efforts, not just in East Tennessee, but North Carolina and Florida as well. And interestingly enough, even though we've had so many people that were absolutely devastated by these storms, we really have had a difficult time finding somebody willing to take our donations. Um, but you were able and you were willing to receive. So it was wonderful to get to connect with you yesterday and to be able to bring you these much needed supplies for your community.
Oh yes, it was great, and we've had a great outpouring. It's just really blown my mind how even across the whole United States, the folks have actually brought goods and supplies to our county, and it's just been overwhelming, and it's just been very, very exciting. Even though a time like this, you never hope that this is why you have to come together. But I am so thankful, like for you guys and the other counties and states who have stepped up and brought us supplies to actually get to the folks that need them. And it's just very. I have never done. We were actually on vacation. And my wife, we were getting ready to come home on that Friday, or we were coming home Saturday, and this is all transposing on Friday. And she was showing me pictures on Facebook, and she was showing me kind of one of our major bridges here. There's a few bridges that come across the Nolichucky River here that keeps the south side and the east side of Greenville and Greene County kind of separated. And she was showing us one of our bridges, and she said, honey, this bridge is about to go. It was named after one of our former soldiers Albert Kinzer. So I said, there's no way that water is up that high. We've fished in there, and we've canoed and rafted down this river. And I said, they've got the wrong picture. And when she showed me the picture of the water, I could not believe it. It was within 2 feet of reaching the bottom of the bridge, and about that time is when it actually collapsed. Oh, so wow. With that, that was one of the largest bridges and most probably heavily traveled bridges coming out of our city going into the county, into the south areas. But I couldn't imagine, and I still can't as I come home. We were rerouted we were to Charleston, and we were routed back up to Withville to come back in. So what was turned into a 5.5-hour drive ended up turning into almost a 10-hour drive because all the roads were actually devastated, the bridges. So we couldn't get home. But but you guys coming up, it's just very, very heartwarming, and it just really makes me feel good to be an American and also be a Christian, to have our Christian brothers and sisters reach out. Many, many congregations. It's just been overwhelming, but it's just so wonderful to have friends and family who really care.
Amen. It's been really wonderful to see the response and the way that, everyday Americans are coming together to support one another. In what, like I said in my opening, just the official response really seems to be falling short. I mean, we had, I'm here in Tennessee, but we had, I call him Texas James, James Honeycutt. He came out. There was a bunch of them out there in Texas who donated they took up a collection. They donated food and water and gasoline and much needed supplies, diapers, wipes, all of these things. And they, brought them to Tennessee, and then we were able to come to you. But it's just been, just seeing that outpouring, and this is happening in cities and in communities all across this country. But if you would just share with us what initially inspired you to organize these relief efforts in Greenville following the hurricane.
Well, we have a veterans ministry over there anyhow that meets on Thursdays for veterans here, and that was kind of how this got started. So when I was gone, I was sitting there, and we have these campground facilities there where, like I said, we have our camp meetings in summer, and we also have our youth camps there. Well, we're within probably 2 miles of the dam of where the actual Noachukee goes over the dam there. So our facilities are right there, very close. And I was sitting here thinking, I said, boy, it would be a shame. And I really think the Lord would not be proud of us if we sat here and let these grounds sit here unused and not utilized for these efforts. So there was a few folks called, and I called a few folks here in town. And then I asked our board, I said, listen, it was kind of like one of these things. I was telling people, yeah, we're going to go ahead and set you up. I said, if our board declines, and that's one of these things, I said, I'll just ask forgiveness later. I said, but I know right now we have got to do something.
That's my motto in life. Yeah, that is.
Yes.
100%.
Go ahead and do it.
Yeah, it's better to ask for forgiveness than permission.
Exactly.
I live my life that way.
The board was 100% for it, and I knew they would. And it wasn't like one of these things. Well, we got to have a meeting here in a week to vote. No, we don't have the time. There's folks who are losing their lives or losing their homes, and we have got to act now. And we had 2 teams come in that's actually stayed on campus there with us. Team Rubicon has come in, and they're probably, I'm guessing, around 40 or 50 strong there, and they've been there for a little while. And then also Disaster USA, who is kind of like a Rotary a group there, we were contacted by them, so they're staying in one of our buildings. And we have individuals who come in. We had a father-daughter team come in last night. They come in from Arkansas. And then we have folks that come from New Hampshire. We have a lady that's come from New Hampshire that she's staying there, and I think she left today. And then we've had folks bring their campers in. We have a 10-site campground there on our property. And we've had campers come in and have folks bringing their horse trailers in. They'll have the back end of their horse trailers packed full of supplies. And, of course, they're staying in the front, the front quarters of them. So it's just been amazing, the outpour. But how we got, like I said, we just had these grounds. And I said, we have to use these. We have to. And actually talking with the team members and keeping up with the effort relief groups here, they said they have never seen a community come together like we have. They say when they're going out into the field and going out and working in the homes, they say there's already families there. There's already church groups there working. They say they've probably got, a quarter to half of the work already done before they're getting to the site. So they're kind of just cleaning up the efforts. But they said it really gave them faith in America again, in humanity. And I said, that really makes you feel good when you're a part of a community that really cares for each other and who has stepped up. And we know that we have each other's backs here. But that's how it really got started. And like I said,
you have a very impressive setup. You have a very impressive setup over there. I was, I guess I had mentioned earlier, I was there on your grounds, and you have that expansive location where you do have the room and the space, which is amazing, but you have everything kind of really well organized there. So it was really, that's taken some effort. How many people would you say are working that end of it, just kind of going through and sorting these donations and making sure that they get to where they need to go?
Probably within our group, we've had in our multi-purpose building, we have the distribution center set up there. And there's probably been an average of 15 to 20 folks that has actually been working that part. And then, of course, we've had folks that have come in. They came in Saturday, and they delivered 8 loads out of 4 pickup trucks, took 8 loads. They went from one end of the county. They spent all day. They went to one end of our county, which is probably about an hour and a half up to deliver up there, came back and reloaded, and then went back up into the mountains of North Carolina. And so they got back in. I talked to Joe, and he said they got back in probably around 7 o'clock that night. But with our congregations and area congregations pitching in, we've probably had a total of, I'd say, 20 to 30 folks that's been helping out there, along with the probably 80 folks is staying on full time there until the disaster relief efforts are met there. And then we've had, numerous folks come in. We've had a husband and wife come in, I think last night, come in and stayed in our dorms. Like I said, we had the father-daughter came in. We had a guy just came in from Ohio. He got there. We've been closing our doors around 6 o'clock, and he just drove 7.5 hours from Ohio with a 16-foot box trailer and full of, just packed full. And he said he was turned down a couple of places. He said he was getting kind of disheartened, and he was turned to our place. And like I said, we were getting ready to pack up, and he pulls in, and he said, "Are you guys able to take stuff?" And I kind of looked at him, and he just kind of hung his head down like, "Oh, no, I'm getting ready to get turned down again." And I said, "What do you have?" He said, "I have got everything." He said, "We've had this trailer set up for probably about 2 weeks now, ever since they heard it happen." So they set the trailer up, and folks were just bringing different supplies. We got everything from golf clubs to, they're thinking about, everybody's lost everything. They got golf clubs. They've got anywhere from diapers. We've got pacifiers, baby food, dog food, blankets, cooking items, cooking utensils. And everything was in that trailer. And I said, "You know what?" I said, "I'm going to go get my 16-foot trailer." And we just backed it up, and we just unloaded his and loaded it right onto mine. So that's getting ready to go Wednesday out into there's a place called Laurel. It's in western North Carolina, and they're accepting anything. They're just taking anything. So we're going to have that load go over. So we just kind of offloaded his onto mine.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to do that. But it's the volunteer. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. What was that community you said in North Carolina that's accepting?
Laurel. It's Laurel, Urel, Laurel, and it's in the west, kind of the Appalachian, go across the town going into Asheville. It's in there's a little place. You've probably seen it on the news. It's called Marshall, and it's just kind of north of Marshall.
Oh, okay.
There, and Marshall was just pretty much devastated. It was just because that little town was right there, right on the river, the French Broad River right there. And it just, you can imagine if you're sitting there right close to that river and that water got up like that, they just didn't really have a chance.
Yeah.
So, but yes, the volunteer outpouring here has been wonderful. And like I said, our congregations around here are just like family, and that's what we should be. And we're seeing a true example of what God meant to be for the church. And that's what I'm hearing with everybody. I said, this is the time for the church to shine, that America needs to see. And, this is what we do. And our Sunday school teachers always said, he said, it's time to go be the church and use words if you need to.
Yeah. And, the interesting thing about, churches, and I have a ministry, Remnant Healthcare Nurse Freedom Network Ministries, it's a 508c1a, and I did this purposely, but the government, because we have heard reports we have people on the ground in East Tennessee, in North Carolina, and we've heard these people on the ground telling us that FEMA is coming in. FEMA is confiscating supplies. I don't know if you've dealt with this at all, or if you've heard about this, but that they are confiscating supplies. They are rationing supplies, and they're deciding who they need to go, where they need to go. Even if they need to be used for this particular disaster, they could put it in a warehouse and use it for whenever. But the supplies were not getting to the people. So with a church, with a ministry, a 508c1a, the government cannot appropriate any of the material or monetary donations that are made. They have no way of appropriating that. So that's what was kind of my way of circumventing the government, which is kind of I do it, at every opportunity that I can circumvent the government.
Right. Well, and we haven't. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I'm just not of the belief that there's anything the government can do anything more efficiently or more, than we can as private citizens, or, as, just the good men and women of this country coming together, I think, can do so much better than any government agency.
Yes. Yes, and that's just like, and actually, I go kind of going back to the question you asked me, how did I get inspired? I was over there when we got back from vacation. I was over there that next evening and just praying over there. I said, Lord, I don't have a clue what I'm doing. I said, all I know is I'm available. I said, what would you have us to do?
Yeah.
And I didn't know anything about running any a distribution center, nothing. And had this fella come in the very next day, and named Marty Perkins. He's from Indiana. He'll maybe be listening and stuff. But anyhow, he comes in. I had never met this guy in the world. His good brother. Now he's just like a brother of mine. And he said, Jeff, my name's Marty. He said, I've been the Indiana State Police. I've been military. What do you need me to do? And I said, Marty, I turned, looked, I said, you see that huge building right there? I said, you are now in charge. So he said, okay. He said, all righty. He said, here we go. And he's done a wonderful job. And, I said, it takes everybody. There's no way, I said, with Christianity, it's not about it's about us. I mean, it's not about any one person. I said, we're all here to represent Jesus Christ and see that people get to heaven. And that's what our goal is here on this earth. And Christ put us here for that we can represent him to the fullest of our abilities. And he will give us people if we pray. And going to the government, we haven't had an issue with it. I prayed about that. I said, listen, I said, Lord, this is your supplies. And I said, you know where they need to go. And we pray for that. We pray that you would show us, show the people when they're driving out here, as they're searching these people out, and getting the efforts over yesterday. Actually, the team couple, husband and wife, went out, and they come into this community up in North Carolina, and they were turned away a couple of times just because the other facilities were just so full of supplies. So they come across this one little community center that had needs some supplies up there, and they were so welcoming, so welcoming that they came and stopped, and they took everything that they had. So we're going to try to get in touch with those folks again, and we have to be careful of what we take in as far as like our vehicles. It's like our trucks and trailers. We got to make sure that we can get in and get out safely. But we have had no issues, thank the Lord, coming in, and nobody's tried to stop us. And nobody has tried to say, what are we hauling? It's just been wonderful. And I know that the Lord is guiding us as we go to get these folks what they need. And they are so appreciative. There's nobody that's not said anything about, no, we don't need this. They're taking everything that we can get to them. And, I was telling my wife last night, we were sitting there, and I said, honey, I said, listen, we've got a roof over our head now. We haven't really thought about this, but I said, now it kind of brings it into perspective. You got these folks who are living in these mountains, and they're already experiencing frost over there. So, they've got families, and they got babies and small children who are out in tents, if they even are lucky enough to have a tent, and sleeping under the stars. And I said, you think about that, how cold that gets at night. It's cold enough if you're sitting outside for, 20, 30 minutes, and then you'd light up a fire. Well, these folks don't even have enough to get a fire lit. So, and then when the sun goes down, the lights go out in the mountains. I mean, that's just the way it is. If you have no way to provide for fire to keep heat or whatever. So, they have generators. Some of them do, but then they run out of gas. So they have no way to get gas. So it's a very, very, very tough situation over there for them. So we're trying our very best to the supplies that we get in, and you guys brought to us. That was just so wonderful. And you brought the diesel and the gas over here to us, and we are not guarding that. We want to make sure that gets to the folks who need it the most. Yeah. And we are praying about that, of how to get it to them. And we've actually yesterday we actually made a helipad on the back side of our property back there, which possibility of helicopters could land there. So that's a possibility. So we are still, very much active of trying to get everything to where it needs to go and the most efficient, and I'm sitting here thinking, I said, Lord, please, if there are folks out there, that has no way to get any help right now, please, reveal that somehow to us that we can get to them.
Yeah. And hopefully I will be able to reach some of those people, that might need assistance, or somebody who knows somebody who might need assistance, and we can direct them to you and to the
Yeah.
incredible resources that you have. So we'll make sure that we include all of this in the show notes and how and where people can go to get assistance. But if you would, I know I have a lot of people that really want to give. A lot of us have just had it
Hmm.
on our hearts to help. As soon as this happened, I took
Yes.
up the fund, and we've had just an overwhelming amount of support. I know at last check, I know we had raised at least 15,000 in just a couple of
Right.
days. I mean, we're really just thrilled and just, I mean, blown away by the kindness of people that have really dug deep into their
Hmm.
pockets to be able to donate. That we can start. We're focusing on mostly on medical supplies, but also we're
Yes.
taking material donations as well. But what are some of the
Hmm.
types of donations that are most critical for your community at this stage?
Donation wise, anything, material wise, anything that they can think of. Wintertime camping. I know people don't think about camping in the wintertime, but you got to think about these folks are out here with nothing. And so if they could think about and visualize being in the mountains with nothing. So basically, boots, any type of tents, any type of gas stoves, anything they can cook on, getting fires, getting heat, sleeping bags, anything like that. So just think, just kind of gear your mind toward cold weather camping in the mountains. And then people saying, well, who in the world would do that? Well, these folks they didn't want to be doing this, but they're forced to do that. So that's the biggest thing we're looking at. They do have a lot of clothes, but we're seeing and hearing too that the jackets, or cold weather coats, coveralls, thermal underwear, and stuff like that would be wonderful.
Okay. Well, we'll make sure that we are getting that information out through our channels, through our social medias. We'll be, taking up another collection, and we hope to be able to make another trip out there to see you guys again and bring you some more supplies. I think it's so important that we support one another
Yes.
in times like this. That's just what
Yes.
what are we here for? If we're not here to help one another through, then why are we here?
That's exactly right. And, I said, God will unite the church. And I said, Lord, I don't know if this is how you're doing it, but I have met some wonderful people, and you guys, including yourself, as you meet folks like this, God says you will know them by their fruits. And I tell you, all the folks that have come in have been so kind, and I feel like I've known you guys forever.
Yeah.
And that's just one of the greatest things. And I said, that's what Christians should be. Come in and come together and bring in their, even if we're talking here, material goods. No matter, God cares about his children, and He wants to see them taken care of, and He expects us to take care of them, the ones who have been blessed, to bless others. So, and that's what you guys have done. I mean, it's just, like I said, I'm sitting here, my heart is so full, and it drives me more to get out to help the community through you guys, and because it's almost like, okay, we're bringing the stuff into you, and it's just like blood pumping into a heart. I said, okay, they're bringing it into the heart here, and it's just, and I said, it's time for us to get it out through the arteries and get it into the facilities out here in the vicinities that need it. So, you guys are bringing in, and it's our job to get it out and be responsible to the folks that need it out there the most.
That's a great analogy. I mean, as a nurse, I love that analogy. So it makes so much sense. You're 100% right. We're gonna take a very quick break. We're gonna come back here, and we are gonna review so much more of this information on how we can get people mobilized and get people out in their communities and helping their neighbors.
Okay.
America Out Loud Talk Radio plays on the iHeartRadio network. You can also listen on our media player from any web browser anywhere in the world. We have the best in-class apps available on Apple, Android, or Alexa, 24/7. Great talk radio. All of our shows go to podcast the following day. You can hear them on apps such as Spotify, Stitcher, Pandora, iHeart Podcasts, and many more. Be sure to subscribe and rate the show on Apple Podcasts for me. Don't forget to check out our online store at americaoutloud.shop, where you can find all of the products that we represent on our network at a discounted rate, including an incredible line of products from Chemical Free Body. Unlike the majority of supplements you'll find on the market today, with Chemical Free Body, you won't have to worry about harmful ingredients, binders, fillers, or flow agents. Their ultra-safe breakthrough nano-silver technology destroys pathogens, balances the microbiome, and boosts immunity. All of these products are proudly made in the USA and are backed by an unheard of double your money back guarantee. I've made a twice daily Green 85 drink part of my routine, which has led to a decrease in belly bloat and an increase in my energy throughout the day. Use promo code OUTLOUD to save 20% off the Healthy Gut Bundle. I'll catch you on the other side of this break. Stay with us.
During COVID, we got educated on the power of natural virus protection and immune boosting using vitamins A, C, D, zinc, and quercetin. The problem? Getting them at the right dosage from truly natural sources that doesn't cost an arm and a leg. Enter the Daily V-Stack. Using breakthrough cellular absorption technology, we put those vitamins together and supercharge them with a complete multi-mineral complex. The Daily V-Stack is basically an oral IV of 6 products, all in one at an affordable price. Go to chemicalfreebody.com/outloud today. Get the Daily V-Stack, protect yourself, boost your immune system, and save 20% on your first order.
Is your hair and skin feeling dull and lackluster? Get glowing again with Healthy Cell's Vibrant Hair, Skin, and Nails, a raspberry-flavored gel supplement that's packed with biotin, collagen, and essential vitamins. It absorbs 165% better than pills, delivering nutrients at the cellular level for healthy hair, radiant skin, and strong nails. Go to healthycell.com and use code OUTLOUD for 25% off your first order. That's healthycell.com, code OUTLOUD.
In 2008, people could spend an average of 12 seconds on a task without becoming distracted. 5 years later, it was only 8 seconds. The digital age is narrowing our attention span. Trouble concentrating or recalling information is frustrating, embarrassing, and kills productivity. Advanced nutrition company Healthy Cell created Focus and Recall to boost your brain power. And unlike other supplements that don't work, Focus and Recall is not a pill. It's a patent-pending gel you swallow with ultra-absorption of science-backed ingredients to help you immediately sharpen focus, concentrate longer, and strengthen recall. These physician-formulated gels come in a small gel pack. Tear off the top, shoot it down. Thousands of 5-star reviews proves it works. Supercharge your brain and see the difference. Go to healthycell.com and use limited time code OUTLOUD for 25% off your first order. Risk-free. Love it or your money back. Guaranteed. Healthycell.com, code OUTLOUD.
I've got 2 questions for you. Have you been feeling off since COVID? Are you struggling with lingering symptoms? You're not alone. As Dr. Peter McCullough says, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Introducing the wellness company's Spike Detox Trio. This powerful supplement combines nanokinase, bromelain, and turmeric to support your immune system and fight off harmful spike proteins. Nanokinase improves circulation, while bromelain boosts antiviral defenses, and turmeric reduces inflammation. It's not just another supplement. It's a scientifically backed solution to help you bounce back from COVID. Imagine waking up filled with energy, feeling clear-headed and vibrant again. It's possible with Spike Detox Trio. Reclaim your health now by visiting twc.health/outloud and use promo code OUTLOUD for 20% off your first order right now.
Many voices, one freedom, united in the First Amendment. Our goal is to herald the voice of genuine liberty at AmericaOutloud.news, a place where you'll find the naked truth expressed with a patriotic heart. Now is our time, my fellow Americans. America Out Loud Talk Radio. Liberty and justice for all.
Introducing the Wellness Company's Medical Emergency Kit.
Designed by Dr. Peter McCullough. Your peace of mind in a box. Keep one for each family member in your medicine cabinet and be prepared for the unexpected. This essential kit includes prescription-only medications like ivermectin, amoxicillin, generic Z-Pak, and other life-saving antibiotics. Plus, each kit comes with a guidebook that offers expert advice and instructions for safe use, helping you overcome 30 medical conditions, such as bronchitis, tick bites, infections, and all of the way too extreme events like anthrax and the plague. Simply order, fill out a short questionnaire, and get your kit prescribed by one of the wellness company's doctors. Red tape removed. Stay ahead of emergencies and medication shortages. Ensure your family's safety. Order your medical emergency kit today at twc.health/OUTLOUD and use code OUTLOUD for $60 off your first order plus free shipping.
It's time and this is why.
Welcome back to Nurses Out Loud on America Out Loud Talk Radio. I'm your host, Nurse Kimberly Overton. Wherever you're listening from today and whatever you're doing, I thank you for giving me the gift of your time. Be sure to make AmericaOutloud.news your daily stop for all the latest news and happenings. We all must do our part and share the stories, the articles, the podcasts, and videos so we can help secure America's future. Let's jump right back in. If you're just joining us, I have been talking with Jeff Melton, who is taking the lead on hurricane relief efforts in Greenville, Tennessee. Jeff, thanks again for joining me today.
It's been great to be with you.
You know, it's been a great conversation. I love just listening to your heart, the heart that you have for others, and watching this community come together, because, you know, the way this world is now, we don't see a lot of this anymore. It shouldn't take a disaster, right, to get Americans to come together. I can only pray and hope that this kind of collaboration among, you know, Americans, that this, where we don't care about, we don't care about who's voting for who, and, you know, the right, the left, who cares, right? We're all coming together.
Yes.
To support one another. And I mean, the world used to be like that, I feel like, and the last few years, it's been a little bit insane, right?
Yes. You know, I can remember, kind of off the grid here a little bit, I remember my dad, you know, when I was small, and we'd go to a bank, and he'd have his good friends, and he'd say, well, Norman, he said, is that all you need today? And he'd go in and he said, yeah. And they'd get up and do it on a handshake. And I'm sitting there thinking, I've thought back on that, and I said, you know, how much paper do we sign to say stuff? And I said, and my dad used to do, borrow money with a handshake. Now, I know that doesn't really mean a whole lot, but, you know, I thought about that. And I said, you know, our country, I really feel like, needs to get back to God. And I mean, that's everybody, I hope, will agree with that and be praying, because, you know, what we're experiencing here is hopefully an outpouring of love. And like I said, it gives me really great hope. Like I said, we have received goods, you know, from everywhere. I mean, it's just amazing. Like you said, you know, you guys coming from Texas and then through Nashville and then coming in, you know, these are not short drives. And I've thought about that even today. I said, you know, you're talking round trip, and I think who was the guy that came up with you? Is it Jacob?
James, Texas James. Yeah. Yes. And, you know, he was on the road 28 hours, and I'm sorry, or maybe 38 hours. I couldn't remember. I said, I think it was over 30, because he went from Texas to Florida.
30, yes, 38 hours.
Yeah.
And he came up here, and I said, are you worn out? He said, well, I'm a little tired. He said, I got about 4 hours of sleep. I said, oh, my goodness. You know, I said, that's just amazing. But the drive that he had, and for somebody to do like that, I said, you know, that says a lot to me. And I mean, I'm proud to be an American. I'm proud to be a Christian. Don't care to say it. I mean, you know, that's what God wants us to do. We have to share our faith, and we have to have enthusiasm. To let the world know. And you know, there's going to be folks looking at this, and you know, probably across hopefully the United States. I know it's been on the news and stuff like that, but I'm hoping what they're seeing is the church coming alive, and people helping people and helping their brothers and sisters in need. And you know, and like I said, one of the veterans, because the Rubicon group is mostly veterans, and I was speaking to one of their leaders, and she said, you know, there's something that has restored hope and humanity for me is watching this community come together like it has. She says, I haven't seen that in a while. And I hope and pray that that's what they're seeing through us. They're not seeing Jeff Melton. They're not seeing anybody else. They're seeing the hand of Christ get out and reach and help people in a time of need. That's what our goal is. And that's what we want. And, and my thing is when we come, I know we're going to come through this strong, even though there's folks who have lost lives, lost family members, and it's a tragedy. But hopefully when we get to these folks, if they have, we can love them, we can wrap our arms around them, we can become part of their family for, to take, hopefully, you're never going to replace a loved one, I know that. But hopefully we can kind of fill that void there, and we can love them and wrap them and help them through this time. And through this time, hopefully, be a part of their family. So, you never know. You never know where God's going to lead you. So we just pray that the Holy Spirit will lead us and will help us and will show us and guide us to the right places at the right time that people need it. And you all have done that. I mean, when you guys came up, when you called me, say, hey, listen, we're bringing some folks or some supplies up. Will you be there? Yes, we'll be here. And so thank you for bringing it up, bringing up the supplies that we've needed. And one thing I want to think about and kind of get this out there, this has happened. It's really young. We're only 2 weeks into this, but what I'm really concerned with, and we're kind of preparing for it with the Cowboy Church here. It's another wonderful group of brothers and sisters in Christ here in the church. They're packing back up. They have gotten a warehouse, and they're packing back goods for future, because they know, and we all know as well as it is, as time goes on, we kind of forget about things. Well, these folks are still here. So hopefully we're going to have supplies set back that we can actually get these folks through the wintertime into the spring, and we can get them into summer type of living. So just be praying along with us that we do God's will, and, he will show us what we need to do. And supplies that we have that, when he fed the multitude with the fishes and the bread, I said, look, God, little is much when you're in it. So, even though these little supplies that we're getting, which it looks like a ton to us, but it may be a little bit to the community or whatever, it's going to go tremendous ways out in this community. And I'm so excited about it, how he's using it already. It's just amazing how people have been so excited to receive it. What people have given in. There's nothing that we have received that has not went out to these folks, and it's going to be helping people. So I'm just so excited about it. And I thank everyone who has donated across these great United States to bring into our community just a little bit of love. And the thing about it is, people are saying, I think we'll be back. So, that says something for everyone. So, again, thank everyone who has brought from the bottom of my heart, and I know I thank it from the team's heart. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's been, if there's one thing that I've learned over these last few years, especially, it's that, God provides, and his provisions never fail. And, his provisions can come in many forms, and they can come through, our friends, our neighbors, people that are coming in with these donations. And like you said, it might not seem like a lot, but there will be enough. There will be enough to take care of people. I believe heartedly. And I believe, we're going to continue. We're going to continue to pray and to breathe life into these efforts, these relief efforts there in East Tennessee and North Carolina, and, into Florida as well. All of these hard hit, devastated areas.
Oh, yes.
The more we love on people, the more we inspire them to pay that forward. That's how we make this world a better place.
Exactly. And, you think about it too, and just kind of thought about, our children are watching us. Our young people are watching us. So hopefully what they're seeing, our last flood in Greenville, which was nowhere near this magnitude. I wish I could get the pictures out there for folks to see. And I might be able to get with you somehow. I can take some pictures. went across one of our bridges yesterday, and it literally, I don't know what a bomb looks like when it went off, but that's what it reminded me of. There are balls of trees just packed up like cordwood. I mean, where our river might have been maybe 100 feet wide, there was paths in those rivers. It was probably 1,000 to 1,500 feet wide. So if that kind of tells you, kind of the magnitude of this flood. And then one area where we went into, when I'm driving down the road and I'm looking up on the power lines, and there's hay hanging off the power lines where the water was up that high. It just almost blows your mind. But as I go back to saying our children are watching this, and the children watching great. I've seen on one of our work crews, they have their children out there with them. So is that not one of the greatest things to have your children involved with this, to go and help them people? And we're planting seeds, we're planting seeds. So now we just got to water them, and we got to get through this. And I know with America and with God, we will get through this. We're America strong. And I believe in America. I thank for our veterans, and, our veterans, and I love our nursing communities. I worked in therapist assistant, so I know kind of a little bit some of the health field and stuff, So I actually did that as I built houses. I built houses for 42 years, so that kind of tells my age a little bit there too. So I just turned 60 in September, so yes, have a little bit of a medical background there, some as well too. But going back to being thankful, Kimberly, doing. Hopefully, this, and if anybody has any questions, feel free to call me. I mean, I don't care a bit. We can kind of talk, if there's more things that come up, I can text you. And, if there's more needs that we're hearing once we get out into the field and we see more of what's happening, maybe there may be more needs that we don't realize. So, but if we do come across them, I will definitely let you know.
Yes, please do. We're happy to help any way that we can. And if there's specific needs that we can get out there, to the communities, across the country, we have this platform, and we're happy to use it to try to get some help in these hard hit areas. So whatever we can do, we are all in for this. We're going to definitely be picking up efforts to give more in these, because I know that more storms are coming, is what we're hearing.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on that? Are you you're prepared for something like that? And also safety, is a major concern just in any post-hurricane scenario, like what you were describing with the power lines and the trees and the bridges. Are there any measures that are in place just to ensure, the safety of volunteers, of recipients that are coming in? Is there any kind of plan, I guess, for that?
Well, right now, of course, it's kind of hard to plan. Like I said, folks say, well, we should have been ready for this. You can't plan for a storm of this magnitude. It's hard to do. I mean, there's folks who were flooded in houses who would have never thought that water would reach their property. So, one thing that I do want to shout out to our power boards. I have buddies that's on the power boards here, and I was texting them and calling them all that. I said, man, we're praying for you guys. They're out in these storms, and they're out in these lines are down hanging everywhere, with this water. And, it's taken power poles across these rivers. They were laying down in the water and stuff. So these guys work, and within kind of keeping a post check on these guys, within probably about 7 days, I think they pretty much had the power restored here. And also, when I was telling you about the Kinzer Bridge going out, it took a main supply of water. The main water line was with that bridge. So it knocked off the power, or the water outlet to the whole upper part of that community up in there. And but they restored, and it took out our main pump house here that supplied the water for Greenville and Greene County. So we were without water. And this was the most amazing thing. And I said, my hats off for these guys. They worked tirelessly. and got our water back up within 6 days. And I said, man, they were thinking it was going to be weeks or maybe even a month or so. And these guys had to prepare the safety. I mean, only thing I can say is just be careful. There are tons of trees out there. It's down. My thing is, if you don't know what's going on, make sure that you go out with folks who do, and actually who don't go into these mountains alone. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but we have folks that'll come in that say, we've done this. Please don't go out there alone. That's what we're telling people. Even our volunteers that come in, we're putting them with these groups, and they have trained professionals with them. So they're going out with these groups where they're not going out there by themselves. And because I wouldn't want to go into say if I was anywhere in Colorado or somewhere like that, and I'd be crazy to go out in somewhere by myself out there. I said I would want to be with someone. So that's what we have, like with these groups here. We can get individuals with these groups that they're safe with, and they're going out as teams and not as individuals. And, just be careful on roads that you're taking, because there are trees that are still, uncertain out there. These grounds are still wet. So we just try to make sure that everyone's safe as they go through. We've even had people come in on horsebacks that can't even, pack mules. And I mean, back into almost like the Western times, going into pack mules, and we've seen pictures of them going in on there. So, but these guys know what they're doing. So please don't do this alone. Go in with people who know what's happening. So only thing I can say is just make sure you get with someone who has been in this area before and who maybe has lived here. Get some advice. And even if you have to stay put a day or two, don't just rush out into it. Make sure we can get you with someone who does know what's happening, and with professionals that's going out to do it. And
now, do you have a need for that, Jeff? Do you have a need for boots on do you have a need for like boots on the ground manpower out there?
We're hearing they are. Our area in Greene County is pretty much that I'm hearing. They're Team Rubicon and USA, Disaster USA. What I'm getting the information back from them is our area is pretty much taken care of, I think. Now, it's not totally, fixed by any means, but to get to clear now, where I think we're hearing that they're going to be needing some folks clearing trees and footwork, four-wheelers, side-by-sides and things like that for roads, even getting into people's steel, is in the western part of North Carolina. I know the Burnsville area, Swannanoa area over there, even the outskirts of Asheville are very, very hit hard over there. And saw some pictures of a guy who was flying with the helicopter teams here. And it looked, we're on the east side of the mountains, and it looks pretty over here. The trees are all still up. Just on the other side of the mountains, it looks like there's just been 600-mile-an-hour winds went in there. There's just trees laying everywhere. So, there's still a possibility. I don't know that for a full fact, but what I'm hearing is there's guys coming in with four-wheelers, like again with chainsaws, going in and having to still clear roads that are actually up in the mountains of North Carolina. So, yes, I mean, we can, as we hear, if folks are wanting to come in this area, make sure don't just, we would love to have you, but make sure, if you're traveling a big distance away, make sure and get in contact with either myself, and then we can get you in contact maybe with folks in North Carolina, but just make sure you have a contact person you can talk to, even if you have to wait maybe a day or two or even a week to see if we can come in, at least we can get your numbers. And, we can have a contact information, and we can get you some folks to get in touch with here to be safe on the ground. That's probably one of our safety issues would be there. Make sure you do, especially when you're going to these mountains, and don't go in there alone, because these mountains are pretty rugged, and we've had folks get lost in here, before. So just please don't go in by yourself. Make sure that you contact someone, before you would come over. But we would love, as the need happens, and I'm sure, like I said, the building process is going to be happening. And we've had folks already saying, they want to come in and maybe build with us. Just make sure you call again and get some information before you just bring a team in and stuff. And then hopefully hopefully we can lead you in the right direction. And as things progress and we can get these folks back into their homes and hopefully getting back up to a normal life.
That's amazing. I know many people are wanting to help, and we're happy to connect you with Jeff and with his team and any of these other teams in North Carolina. So if you're out there, if you are wanting to help, if you're not sure how, certainly reach out, get in touch, and we will make those necessary connections for you. I can't believe we're out of time, Jeff. It really goes by so quickly. But I appreciate you coming on so much and just sharing this information, everything that you're doing in your community. It's just, you're such a blessing, all of this incredible team, and what a wonderful and pure example of Christ-like love for our neighbors. Thank you so much for all you're doing.
Amen. Well, thank you for having me. It's been a great, and I just want to say thank you again. Thank you to all the folks that has brought out support to us. But thank you again. Be praying for us, and we'll be praying for America, and we pray that we get through this now, and I know we will.
Amen. And that is all the time that we have for today, friends. But remember, we are here on the air 5 days a week, Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern, with a different nurse host daily. You can also catch the encore at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please be sure to tune in and listen to myself and my amazing sister nurses. As we walk you through all of these hot topics, we will empower you with information and education. We will advocate and we will stand in the gap for you, because we are nurses and this is what we do. I'm your host, Nurse Kimberly Overton. You can find me here every Wednesday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern. Until next time, be safe, be well, and God bless. Remember that we are in a war for truth. We are putting out a bounty on the real misinformation and exposing the purveyors of propaganda. No topic is off limits as we shine our lights and expose the darkness.
It's time